Yes. All right, so now I'm in the picture, right?
Right.
Okay, so everything around me is blue and black. That's it's set up to black, cold, white, hot. Okay, so white and yellow are going to be our warmest areas. We're looking for those blue spots to actually come across something a little bit warmer. I'll show you some more tactics at our first location. You want to keep this thing horizontal all night, because it goes to YouTube and then back over to my website, so that way you guys have a nice wide screen to watch. I blow these up on our TV when we really need to dive into something that was like, oh my god, we got to check this out, so that way you guys can do the exact same thing. The red square on there means that it's recording. If it turns to a circle, let me know, and we'll splice some video together tomorrow morning once I go through it, and I'll make sure it's in order. So just try your best not to hit it. It just makes life so much easier for all parties. So that way you're not going, we missed this location. Where was that? Well, you accidentally hit the button, didn't tell me until after we left it. I do use an SB7, but we want to record. Right. So an SB7 is the spirit box like they use on the TV shows, but it doesn't record anything. And we get way more with this design than anything else. Here, fish out the EMF while I demonstrate the S-Box. So the spirit box that I use is actually designed by Ghost Stop, and that's a company down in Florida. Yeah. You guys heard of them? No. Okay, so really cool company. They have a little shop down there, and once I get my own shop up here, I'll be reselling their product. So I've already worked out a few details with them. That's actually the end game for Stories in a Cemetery, is to have a shop and with a haunted hotel upstairs. Nice. So you guys can pay $500 a night and have a good time.
Hell
So
yeah.
we're gonna charge. All right, so spirit boxes, as you know on TV, have you messed with these before?
No.
Okay, so your TV.
I've messed with like the app thing where it just kind of flips through radio stations and throws fake voices at you.
Okay. This one is flipping through real radio stations.
Right.
Okay, so it's the white noise, and then it's, obviously the voice that they give you. We have this one slowed down so it's not just white noise. We want the radio chatter to come through. Right. So one of the methods that I found is most useful when you're going to be hitting various locations. Yeah. So with that, radio DJs, song lyrics, commercials, all that shit's going to come through. I want it to. I want you to tell me what it says if you can make it out. Now, obviously, if you can't make it out, just move on. It's recording already. The great thing about this guy is it's not recording any outside noise, just the radio sweep, even when it's on mute. So, I know, I love this damn thing. The great thing is because I investigate museums and places just like you guys go into, and all this shit's running in my pockets. Nobody knows what the hell I'm doing. I review all the data later. So I pay my ticket fee just like you guys. I hang out for an hour or two, learn what I need to learn, and then I'm out the door. So, and nobody knows anything that I just did while I was in there. So you have one button to worry about. It is it's a turnstile at the top. So you just turn it up, you turn it down. Obviously when I'm talking, you can see I don't have a huge projected voice. Plus it's cold, I'm trying to save it. Let's go ahead and keep it down on mute, but yeah, you found the button. So London is using an EMF meter. You want to explain how that works? You guys have seen these on the TV shows.
Yes.
But they don't explain how they actually work. Right. That's the problem. Go ahead.
Okay.
Giving you the spotlight, kiddo.
Fun. Okay, so EMF stands for electromagnetic what? Fields. And I was making sure I was right.
Yep, you were right. Keep going.
I'm going this
and there's 3 types. One comes from the earth, which is why it's green right now. Second one comes from electronics. Yep. And if I were to put my phone on top of it, it would light up. And then the third
What kind of light up would it do?
It would go to the middle lights.
It's going to go to a pulse or a rhythm. Okay, so we don't want that anymore.
And then the third type is from paranormal activity, where it's not going to be super pulsive. That's a word.
Erratic.
There we go. Hi, English Hoodly. I don't know how I'm in honors, but
Because your dad's a writer and I taught you well. So we're really looking for, basically, this is our first indication of something's going on. Right. Okay, now she's going to be carrying it around. And we're going to always try to debunk shit first. Now, even if you see something in your thermal imaging cam, I have different thermometers to test it, whether it's surface temperature or ambient temperature. So again, this is science experiments. So if we capture something, awesome. We're going to see what it is. Right. With hers, we're going to look around. Our sidewalks actually have the parking meter lines underneath. The crosswalk lines are underneath. So are we walking on a busy street that has parking meters? Is there wiring above us? Is she too close to a building? She will basically debunk these things for us. She knows how to use it. She just doesn't know how to explain it. So,
I English good like.
That's fair.
So I'm going to use 2 spirit boxes on my phone. I do have a backup EMF in case hers dies. It does happen with battery drainage. I do test batteries constantly. and I do have spares just in case. But I do have a backup on my phone. It's not as sensitive, but it works. This spirit box is going to give us a word right in the center of the screen, just like you mentioned earlier. It's kind of like the obulus. Okay. Now this guy is going to give us. It's going to save them to a list, which is really cool. But we're going to clear out the last story I did because they already have their list. 80% of this app is absolute bullshit. Doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Okay. It's meant to be a game and a hoax. It's the other 5 to 20%. You might only have one term that means something that's relevant to us, where we are, the location, the history, whatever. And I'll always give you a verifiable link of why it's relevant.
Okay.
Okay. So if I'm talking about Joe Schmo and it says Joe Schmo, obviously I'm going to give you the link of where Joe Schmo lived or wherever we are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. It says likely.
By the way, Joe Schmo is not a real name in the store.
Listen, I'm also going to use a reverse spirit box. So a reverse spirit box, they claim that it was FM radio stations being flipped backwards. But as a communications major, I know that that's impossible. You can't take a live FM signal and flip it backwards. You can't do it. So what I did was I put it into my software and I flipped it forwards. It's literally just a man and a woman saying random words. I don't know how long the loop goes on for, if it gets updated or whatever. Do I get a lot of activity out of this? Yes, I do. I will play an EVP for you, but I want you to hear how this sounds first because it's going to sound like gibberish.
Right.
So if I get a direct, intelligent response out of it, obviously we have something going on. So that's what it sounds like. I did hear the word position. So when I do hear something out of this, because there'll be times where London and you two will break off away from me so I can do my own EVP session, because the only way you're going to be able to hear this is through the regular audio. If I hear something like position, I'll say position, rewind by 5 seconds. That's your audio marker. I don't listen to this. I watch the video, I listen to the spirit box, I give you a quick analysis. This guy, that's for you guys to go through and hear the stories again and hear what I heard while I was broken away from you. So an EVP that I did hear on this, let me turn that one down for a second. I was talking about a woman from England, and this is the EVP that came through in real time, and I had no idea what it meant, but it came through and I learned what it was later. So.
I heard it, yeah.
Okay. That came from the reverse spirit box. So your spirit box told me, I'll fix you, from whatever DJs told me that, baked beans breakfast, and then the word list gave me the word tea, all within 2.5 minutes of each other. So again, I only caught part of it in real time. The rest of it was clued in the next morning. So I was able to piece all of it together. So if that gives you a gist of how I have to look at this all together the next morning, now you know why. All right, so you guys ready to hear some ghost stories?
Yeah.
Isn't that why you're here?
Yes.
All right, so let me turn this down, because I only turn it up when I'm kind of broken away from you guys, so that way it's not everybody's listening to that. But this does stay on all night, so everybody can see it. This one won't run unless it's on screen. So the cool thing is all I have to do is turn the volume up to get the other one going at the same time. So, and you guys will have access to all of these apps at the top of your data page. So this place used to be called Big John's Tavern. Big John, he was a football player for the 1947 Giants. Now, he used to sit in the back of the bar and kind of nod off to the bartender if the cadets that came over from the Citadel, if they were of age or not. And one night, 2 guys come in, John tells the bartender, cut them off, get them out of here, they're not of age. So they leave, pissed off, they come back the next night, they decide they're going to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's going on, a little rough and tumble, they start fighting on the floor, a couple shots were fired, bullet hits John in the neck. John finishes beating the hell out of the guy and goes back to the bar, and he says, looks at the bartender and he says, get me a beer and get him an ambulance. Now, I just told you a story where nobody died. The bullet hole that ricocheted off John's neck landed in the wall. The bullet hole is allegedly still here. They're doing some reconstruction, so I don't want to give any false positives there. It is said that the paranormal activity in this place comes from that bullet hole. People that sit in the front get a little queasy, dizzy, nauseous, those kind of things. Now, you already said that you were somewhat sensitive, like so you got the word weaken. So in the event any of those things start to happen to one of you, please let us know. We will move on pretty quickly. So the slightest headache we need to know. So that being said, let's move on to something a little happier. I've had people pass out from the store, by the way, like literally on a nice cool night like this.
I
just drop like a wet noodle. Just too much going on. The mantling above your heads. It also wraps around the front of the building, and we had a big earthquake here in 1886. It's a big one for us because it's Charleston and we don't get earthquakes. So a piece of that mantling broke off, struck somebody in the head, and killed them And allegedly that was the first death from the earthquake. Do I have proof of that? I do not. The previous owner of this bar, his name was Paul. It was Kane Rum Bar then. He used to see dark shadows out here on East Bay Street. Take that for what it's worth. I don't have any verifiable proof. I just like to get your mind off of, I could get sick from this tour. So, but let's go ghost hunting, and that way we could show you more about your devices.
Nice.
Yeah.
Got the party bike going.
Right?
Yeah.
This is what I call the red barn lot. Okay, London's already getting some activity, which is good. Now, sometimes we get it at the start on our walk-ins, sometimes it waits until we leave. We never know what's going to happen. Cool thing about this place is that there's not a whole lot of history here, so we can talk more about your devices. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. Okay, you guys know that Andrew Pinkney in, right?
Yeah.
Fun fact about that place: there is no Andrew Pinkney. They named it that to be first in the phone book. Just so you guys know.
What?
Yeah, crazy shit,
That's
right?
awesome.
Hey, we were trying to look up what it was before because we saw the old brick and stuff behind where they remodeled it, and we really couldn't find anything of what it was.
Yeah, it's really hard to find plats of land. Like there's even the little cafe over here. They wanted me to do a full investigation, but it used to be a slave home. So it's a reconstruct, rebuild something. I don't know what happened to it. And I only get EMF upstairs, so I'm probably not going to do it just because I don't have any history on the place. But anyway, the horses are still inside. So if you're going to be near there with your spirit box, just kind of keep it to an audible level.
Okay.
Not super loud. And this is the same red barn where they kept the horses that delivered milk to Charleston. So that kind of dates it for you, 1860s to 1920s. That's all the history I can find on this place. And that's
like 4 words.
We got a lot more than 4. So we got lightly, format, care, weekend, collaboration, black, said, western, and dance. So we got a lot going on so far. We'll see how much of that actually makes sense. So we're going to start with the spirit box only because this is not your TV shows. We're going to stay away from yes or no questions first off.
Right.
Your questions are, let's give you an example. Is somebody here? Because that's the most common question, right? No. Well, first, that means somebody's here.
Right.
Yeah.
Second, if they said the word houses, you heard that from a DJ or a song lyric, you think you heard the word yes. Because S and O, 2 of the most common phonetic sounds in our English alphabet. Okay, so we want to stay away from yes or no.
Okay.
Start off with something simple. Now, the next location we go to, I'm going to give you questions to spark some ideas, but you're not going to know what the answers are. Here, let's start with something simpler. What color is the barn? If you don't already know, it's red.
Right.
Okay. There's no deviating away from red. It's not purple. It's not anything else. It's red. Okay. It's one syllable. It is what it is. So you're going to ask that question, wait about 30 seconds. If you don't get an answer, try again. You're going to try this 2, 3, maybe 4 tries. If you still don't have an answer, remember, they're not in the box. You don't need to speak to them in here. It's okay. You don't want to tell me what's going or what color the barn is? Tell me what's inside the barn. Now we just opened it up to a whole new can of worms because we know they're horses, but they delivered, so you might hear the word delivery, milk, calcium, animals, carriage, people, because they're carriage rides now. Anything else that might be in there, hay, stable, any of those kind of terms. You're listening for clues. I can't tell you what it's going to say.
Right.
You might not hear anything.
Right.
Now, we can also, I usually go after jersey numbers of Big John's teammates. I get a lot of them here. I've actually, and I'm not a sports guy, so I have to look this shit up. Did. Very interesting. So, numbers don't lie. So, I'm going to obviously look at 13 to see who the hell jersey 13 was. If I get a name after that and 2 match, obviously,
There you go.
part of our 20%. With the thermal imaging cam, I'm going to show you a quick video of something we caught with that camera, just to kind of give you a gist of what you're looking for. And I know you kind of already have an idea. But with that said, this is legitimate evidence of things that we've... So this is our next location, and this orange right here is a wall. Okay, so you're going to see 2 living people. See how they're orange above the... And we're going to fast forward a little bit, and you're going to see 2 dead people. They're going to be just above this wall right in this corner. They're going to be going the opposite way.
Oh, what?
So you always want to try to keep somebody in view.
Okay.
The reason for that is because we are now a base. So
Yeah.
when you face it at, well, just a blank wall, you're probably going to have mostly one color. I mean, all red or all, blending of purple.
Right.
So with one person in view, our skin's the warmest thing out here. So now we're the base. So everything else around it is the colors are going to fluctuate nicely for you. So you always want to try to keep one person in the video.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who it is. Unless you're a ghost and you don't have
Right.
you can face the camera. So at this point, like, I am going to go ahead and start on my end with my stuff, but the three of you are going to kind of stick together. London's going to kind of go look for some hotter spots than just a little bit of orange,
Okay.
and kind of get you going on your spirit box, and that way she can help out. I mean, obviously we want you to
Sure.
be using it, but London's just as big of an expert in this place as I am, so
Just a little bit slower.
yeah. And again, that's recording the entire time. So
Okay.
if it's repeating anything that I'm saying, I'll
Yeah.
catch it in the morning.
Okay.
So we'll kind of see what comes out of it. Again, I'm not going to go through because we got an hour and a half there minimum, hour and a half there. So that's 3 hours. I usually go through about 2 hours worth of stuff.
Yeah.
So plus the recording. So you guys are going to have a lot to go through.
Nice.
So, but go wander, stay within the lot.
Okay.
The camera. People get weird about camera on their cars here.
All right.
So if somebody's walking by and you're under a car, you're just holding a phone at that point.
Gotcha.
Fair enough?
Gotcha.
The next place we're going to is another parking lot. I know it's not pretty, but
Right,
this is ghost
right.
hunting.
Right.
What do you mean? This is gorgeous.
I know. Go have fun. So go learn, like, again, find out where some hot spots are, but she's your guide right now.
Gotcha.
Oh, I got the word dope. That's not good.
Uh-oh.
What's that
Well-
supposed to mean, bro?
Hey, where are you going? You going to talk to who?
One of the 7 dwarves?
Yeah.
Right here, it's really red stuff.
So what does that mean?
So that means that there's some sort of like energy right in this area, and like if I go and take it over here,
Yeah.
it got it lower, so there's less energy over here, which means there would be orangey right here. I'm bad at explaining. But then that would mean that there's either more energy from the earth, which not likely.
Right.
I would need my phone to be like right here, which actually took it down.
Right.
So, or paranormal activity,
Right.
most likely, and then we can use the spirit box to communicate.
Oh.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
I heard what happened.
That got very
Too
loud.
loud.
Hit him right in the face, go.
Steak.
Big.
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, is that what you heard?
I smell like the strawberry.
Get it, people. Last thing I'll say.
Oh,
No, no, no,
that's the
no.
last thing we'll say. Oh.
So that's 21 Panthers.
21. College girls. Oh, there's some baby making music in there. Romantic. That's weird. I'm not hearing.
Back to you, Melba.
Fuck you, mother.
Getting anything
I don't know.
So I asked for a number, jersey number, and I got the word double. And we've already had the number 13. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if double 13, which would be 26, would be a number. So
Yeah.
I'll have to listen to your spirit box to
Yeah.
see if the number 26 comes up, or a first name that might match the number 13 or 26 jersey number.
Okay.
So we'll kind of see what comes out of that. So again, there's always research to be had.
Right.
And I'm not a know-all, tell-all about Big John's teammates or the barn or any of these locations we're going to, because we still learn new shit every time.
Right, right.
You know, so you guys ready to learn some real history? You got the gist of how to listen to that thing?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. I know it's tough.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing in the world.
No.
That's why we have it slowed down. So just listening for disembodied voices, which will come through from time to time. I get about one a month. Those are a lot more. Those are easier to hear because you hear it over top of static. With listening to radio DJs, you're kind of like, it said no money down. Does that
Right,
mean like they bought their
exactly.
house for free? You know, like whatever. So you never know the context of it either. That's really hard to tell unless you just write shit down and then look at it as a message
Right.
and not remember way it sounded.
Yeah.
So let's take a walk.
All right.
I got kids.
That's location.
And what's kind of cool is we won't be too far away from where you guys are staying.
Oh, awesome.
I actually had to reroute this tour.
Yeah.
Me and London got screamed at one night by a new neighbor in town that did not like us passing by
Oh my
his house.
God.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was pretty bad.
I like that.
All right.
What up for you?
We did get this.
Walmart.
I remain professional. And looks like we might have some problems with the homeless again in here tonight. So, it is cold out. Oh, we're getting activity. Oh, find him. That'd be interesting.
As soon as
So-
you said that last week.
Find him. Let's be our homeless guy. He does like to.
Mm-hmm.
We have several. The cops are pretty good about keeping him out of here, but I usually watch the dumpster in the gate. That's where
Yeah.
they like to sleep. So anyway, welcome to the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion site. This is obviously just a parking lot now. It's going to be a future hotel, and they will not do an archaeological dig from Eliza and Charles Pinckney, which is super sad. So London's already getting activity, so know that they've never done a dig site here, so there's no wiring, there's no anything in here, there's no reason for that thing to go off. This thing has let me down maybe 4 times in the past year and a half I've been doing this tour, where we walked in and it did absolutely nothing.
Right.
So I do expect activity here, especially when that's going off. So Baked Beans Breakfast, this is where this occurred, and the video that I showed you guys. So that
Yeah.
it kind of shows you how much activity we're going to get. So the story about Eliza and Charles, they had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution. It's 2020. I hate politics. Let's move on. I'm going to be talking to Charles just so you guys, we're not asking the same questions.
Sure.
So Eliza married Charles at a young age. She's from England. Her dad was sick back home in England, and he wanted all of his kids home. She didn't want to go. So she got married and stayed here. Now, that wasn't a concrete citizenship back in the 1700s, but it helped. So dad gets better. He starts sending her gifts over from England. One of those gifts happened to be indigo. So indigo makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Most of us, actually all of us, are wearing it tonight. That's how we use it today. So she started the plant here, and she owned slaves that were part of the Gullah culture. Did you guys take any other tours around town? Okay, so the Gullah culture is where most of our slaves came from when we brought them over from Africa. That's the culture that they came from. So you're going to hear the word Gullah down here a lot. especially if you take any tours on plantations. So, but they already knew how to cultivate this plant in our chilly temperatures in the winter.
Yeah.
So once it became a cash crop, they moved it over to Mount Pleasant, which is just north of here, to a plantation called Snee Farm. That's where it became a huge cash crop. Then she used Dad's contacts overseas to make it a huge cash crop, and it was a good thing because our rice plantations were going to shit. So we needed something else. That's basically what saved not only Charleston, but all 13 colonies. So Eliza's a pretty big deal. No other tour is going to talk about her. Now I'm just scratching the surface of what she's done, but there's some weird things about Eliza you can ask about on your spirit box.
Yeah.
You can ask how old she was when she got married, which is a significant number because it's also the same number of her birthday. So kind of keep that in mind if you're going to use that question. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, so way to go, Chuck. You screwed that one up.
Huh.
Now, they both go by their maiden name, so Eliza blank Pinkney. They both start with L. That's all
Right.
I'll tell you, so try to find out what the maiden name was. Look at the word Grayson again. We had Grayson on our tour last week or the week before. I don't think you were here. He was an interesting child. I think he was like 6. Very inquisitive. Loved that kid. He was great. But anyway, it's weird. Some of the customers I remember, isn't it? As of all the people I talked to. But where else was I? You can ask what happened to the mansion. You can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. How old she was, where she buried, what did she die from, and which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So that's a pretty interesting fact. And we didn't even learn that one until about a month or so ago when we had the same EVP come through twice.
Yeah.
And we got it again, well, I got it again just the other night. So I've had it 3 times now. You will get a definitive answer. And it's
Yeah.
not just the first or last name, it's the full name, which is very interesting considering the time period. We're talking colonial times. So there's a lot of facts that you guys can ask about. I will ask, do not ask about her children. Reason being, all activity will stop throughout the rest of the night. She affects all of Charleston that way. So if you ask about the kids, there was a tragedy there, leave it alone. We're not here to provoke.
Yeah.
So I want you to also keep in mind, we have 2 pieces of audio running between my audio, his camera, and 3 spirit boxes. So if you're asking a question, the answer can come here and vice versa. It can go to any device it wants
Sure.
to. So again, we find it often, like I'll ask questions you don't even know I'm going to be asking, and you turn around and say, what's a blue brick? And I said, hey, tell me what the favorite part of this wall is.
Yeah.
And there was a blue brick in there. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it can go literally anywhere, and it's verifiable proof that I asked the question, you got the answer.
Gotcha.
Happens all the time. So again, I'm going to be going after Charles and asking different questions to Eliza to see who's actually here. If you guys can actually you guys are going to group up again,
Okay.
the 3 of you. And unless London wants to stay with me, but we're going to stay here for a good 10-12 minutes.
Okay.
Again, video with cars. Not many people really care. I mean, I've gotten yelled at in here before, but it happens.
Right.
Obviously, I'm still in business. But nobody has lasers. I'm not worried about that. But do venture off, and if you come up with your own questions that you might want to know, but give me something that I can verify. You know, what was your relationship with your kids? You know, how did you feel about your husband? You know, you might actually get that emotion.
Right.
He's the ghost.
Am I the ghost?
Yes.
I am not the ghost.
You is too the ghost.
I am not making that thing go to red. All right, so you gonna hang out with me? You want to go with them? Okay, you're gonna hang out with me. All
I'll
right.
chill with the ghost.
So
All right.
have fun and be mindful of our friend at the gate. That's all
All
I'll
right.
say. He can get grumpy.
I
so-
got you.
Especially if we're disturbing his sleep.
Right.
Got your spirit box. It's right there. There's anything. I don't have any contrast. You have to go. Hold on here. Get your spirit box. I'm recording you. There you go. Bam. All right. Let's ask some questions. Eloise, what's it?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know. What questions?
Oh, miss your house being here?
Rude.
How about
Are you still here? Why?
why was this property so important to you?
Do you hate what it's become now? Probably. I would.
Oh, that's them in the background. Let's see how far this thing goes. This goes pretty far. Obviously, you can see the lamps. Are you hearing anything?
No, I don't think so.
What is your middle name?
Damn.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. God, I don't know.
You wanna walk,
It's just so
you wanna
neat
walk
looking.
over here? Oh, that's the one.
Yeah, with the little dip.
It's a little dippy. I think they got the same app.
What do you want people to remember you for? I don't know. Or do you? I don't know.
You gotta be the volume, babe. You gotta be able to hear it.
Huh? That would be neat if you got something.
Right next to that one.
Huh?
I just put it right
Oh,
next to it. Oh, you can see them.
My hands are freezing.
You didn't bring your gloves?
I did. I gotta put my gloves on. Gross. Which one's my thumb? There we go. This
I haven't heard much on it.
no.
I've just been kind of trying to keep handing around.
Right, right. Well, this is also a location where, I mean, I know I said not to disturb our friend, but I mean,
Yeah.
you can keep it running.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And, you know, keep asking those questions because this place can get pretty active. Now, we do have a light that's to the right of that one that you see on the back of Five Church Restaurant.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's blinking. Sometimes, obviously, it's not on at all, but it's also my barometer of how much activity we're going to get when it is blinking because it'll go in sync with London's EMF meter.
Right.
So you can almost hold it up and see it within like 2 frames of a video. We've tested it. So again, without it blinking tonight, it is kind of hard to say if we're going to get anything at all. That's
Right.
why I try to spend a good amount of time, a good 10-15 minutes here, just to see what we are going to get. But yeah, turn that thing up, listen in, see what you guys can capture. I mean, I'm asking the same 2 questions
Yeah.
over and over and over again, just waiting to see if there's going to be an answer.
Exactly.
So, and again, that's all we can. And again, it might be coming up on your recording, and I'm just not getting it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. So we're going to continue on. Let's
Okay.
go up to that corner. Let's see what happens.
Maybe turn it up and ask some questions. Oh, watch out for broken glass.
Huh?
Watch out for broken glass.
I mean, you don't.
I don't know.
7 Sunday.
7 Sunday. Tomorrow's Sunday, the 20th. Alright, so what was the questions? Oh,
Ooh, what's the middle name?
the middle name, yes.
You should have helped me.
Oh. How old were you when you died?
In the name for this.
In the name. There's a lot of music.
Yeah. Did you like music?
Buy and sell.
Oh, yeah. Was that
That's
your
what they do.
profession? You bought and sold?
One back.
Oh. What's your middle name? Oh. What was, what do you say, the pallbearer at the funeral?
COVID. Gone overnight.
Oh, it's like a future thingy. Prediction.
Mushroom.
Mushrooms. Oh, there's getting a lot of music over
No,
here.
I
Where
was
do you
like,
want to
no.
go? You want to try back over here?
I don't want to go that way.
You want to go that way? Alright, we'll go this way. Oh, I'll go up the camera.
My mouth is so dry.
Yeah, me too.
I know. The problem.
The perfect storm.
Ain't a question.
Savannah.
Savannah.
Well, alright. So, who? I don't know what to ask. Did you like living here? How did you die? Was it murder?
My nose.
Who knows?
Over. Stop.
What?
No,
Not-
that's what it
no,
said.
no.
I wanted to.
Toward the secret of an
That was.
Aggressive. I'm not hearing your voices.
Huh? I don't know.
Hello?
There's a lot of music though. Can you get it?
Texas. Holden.
Texas, did they buy a lot of slaves? Wait, Texas didn't have slaves, did they?
Yes.
With the teacher of the week.
Teacher of the week.
Teacher of the week.
That's what I heard.
Oh, it's catching up.
What'd you get?
Nothing. It took a second to catch up.
Ooh, I am so cold.
Put your hand up.
No.
How many brothers or sisters did you have? What was your parents' name?
What's your middle name?
And what's your middle name? That was the one. Be gone. Gone away.
I'm so cold.
Sorry, babe. May not be the warmest thing on the picture.
Kitty.
Kenny.
Kitty.
You can be alright? You can get sick?
Huh? Oh no. You want me to get sick?
No.
Phrases that just aren't making any
But
sense.
there's
Yeah, we
It's-
kept
it's
getting
just
like
so
gone,
much
be
music.
gone, and then
lyrics
music.
can mean something too.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, until you listen to this thing every day as your job, like I do,
Right.
it's hard to really kind of pinpoint what those things are.
Yeah.
So in the morning, even when I give you some audio markers, some of that stuff might not be relevant, but it came through pretty clear.
right.
So it kind of trains your ear on how to listen to when you guys get your own spirit box, because I'm sure that's in the future for you
Yeah.
guys. So the answers to, like, we're not getting anything definitive that I can prove.
Right.
So the answers to the questions that I gave you, Eliza was 22 when she got married to Charles, who was 45, so that tells you the age gap. Her birthday is December 22nd, just 3 days from now. So I was hoping as we got closer, and this
Yeah.
place always gives me dates, like
Right.
weird stuff. The house burned down in the Great Fire of 1861, which would have been after Charles and Eliza's time, but they still give us the words burning, fire, flame, those kind of things. We'll hear that all the time. Eliza died at the age of 70 from breast cancer, what we think is breast cancer. I know, for 1700s,
Yeah.
that's kind of a weird thing, but that's every research site that I find says breast cancer. But that was in Philadelphia, and that's also where she's buried. So she's not even buried here. Charles is buried here, but she's not. And it was George Washington that took her to her grave. So he was a pallbearer at her funeral. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, George Washington, when we get that cognitive
Define, please.
thinking process. But anyway, what other questions did I have you guys ask? What did you guys ask?
Pretty much just the middle name. We're
Yeah.
looking- Yeah.
The maiden name?
Yeah.
So her maiden name was Lucas. The first
Okay.
insignificant Eliza was Lamb.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I answered them as in, give me your questions, and I'll
Right,
give you the
right,
answers.
right.
What else did you guys ask?
I don't know.
We asked about the house, yeah.
the house. Just if you're there, why? That sort of stuff. Like, it's so hard to actually do it.
Honestly, once you start getting in the gist of how to use, because
Yeah.
most of your TV shows will kind of put one device in at a time and kind of test it out. I like to throw as much at my locations as possible. You know, I have 2 spirit boxes that I'll run. Obviously, that gives me 4 total. We'll have the EMF going, digital cameras, 2 different lasers. You know, I throw everything I can for them to show themselves, speak to us, do something to prove that they're actually here. Something will pick up. That's, again, in the year and a half I've been doing tours with people that I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never had a tour that didn't have something. It could be the smallest little thing, but it had something throughout the tour. So at this point, we are going to walk up East Bay Street.
Okay.
It's kind of a masked up area.
Sure.
Cops will be out. If you're smoking, you're good. By the way,
I'm
that's kind of my
I'm
out.
done.
Yeah. Weird.
Well, you use your mouth to do it.
Yeah.
So drinking outside, eating outside, and smoking outside, and normally outside, if it was just the 2 of you,
Right.
you guys would be fine. But now you're in mixed company with me in London.
Yeah,
so that's
Yeah.
why they
exactly.
would
It's a
stop. And
group.
obviously with the bag, they're going to recognize me as a guide, so forth and so on. But I usually vape along East Bay Street, and if a cop stops me, my vape's in my hand. I'm smoking. It just
Right.
doesn't stop. So obviously that doesn't seem to bother you guys since you're both smokers.
No. Yeah, I was gonna say.
No,
And
Not at
London's
all.
like, oh, you're on watermelon today.
Well, I smelled it earlier. I told you it was like strawberries.
It's strawberry watermelon. So you guys are both correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So London's getting chilies.
Oh yeah, it's cold.
Can you hold this for a second?
Sweaters. Luckily, I layered up myself today.
You covered it up.
Yep. Oh,
Oh, yeah, I
So
know.
last thing I need is a crop stock.
Right?
You got all my smoking stuff in your pockets.
Right.
All right. We'll risk it. Let's go past our friend at the gate.
All right.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not your typical tour guide, as I'm sure you guys picked up. I'm being turned off for EMF because on East Bay Street we have all these parking meters and crosswalks. So I usually tell the guest that has it, just ignore it. It's
Yeah.
fixed.
It's gonna go nuts.
Yeah. You're gonna get all pocketed and all excited.
And like,
How long have you guys been in town?
only tonight. Yeah. We decided to stay the night.
Not too far of a drive. You
Not
guys
at
got about 3
all.
hours?
No, yeah. that's
Not even.
2 hours.
It got cold quick.
Well, even this afternoon, like, I deliver flowers slow and I help out a friend of mine in town. We were out and about. I don't need my jacket, but you know, I'm in and out of the car delivering flowers.
Right. Nice to be out then finally.
You know, when they released us to be allowed to tour again,
Yeah.
I was busy from that day all the way up until the end of November. December 1st hit,
Oh God,
and
yeah.
it like just died down. Okay, after a crazy October that I had,
Oh, I bet.
yeah, we were literally the day of when they said open tourism. Turn that on button on.
I'm surprised.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
where are you guys originally from? That's not a South Carolina accent.
Oh, yeah, I was like, we're void of accents. I'm kind of from all over, military brat.
Gotcha.
So, born in Tennessee, though.
Okay.
I'm from Minnesota.
We're originally from Ohio, so we're not
Oh,
from
yeah,
here
you're
either.
used to.
Yeah. Well, not anymore.
Yeah.
We've been down here before.
Get acclimated quick.
We've lived in South Carolina for about 8 years.
I love the air.
Well, compared to where we came from, like, this is paradise.
Exactly.
Well, we lived in Youngstown, so I don't know how much you guys know about Youngstown, Ohio. The number 2 murder capital in the nation.
Oh, jeez. Between that and meth, yeah, Ohio really isn't selling it.
Not at all.
It's so pretty when it's all decorated up here.
For some of the neighborhoods. But, I mean, these people, it's Christmas in the South.
Oh, yeah.
They go a little.
It's fall, y'all.
Yeah, right.
They get into it.
We got Y'all Fest down here too in the fall.
God.
Y'all Fest is a young adult. Literally here for one night only?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We figured why not come down. We usually do that, or we'll go to Myrtle Beach or something for the weekend. But
Yeah. What's traffic been like up there?
Yeah.
not bad.
Myrtle Beach?
Mm-mm.
Really?
North Myrtle. I don't know about Myrtle.
I've actually been going a little bit further. Quiet area.
Even though the past few times I've been here, it wasn't so quiet.
Alright, so. Have you guys ever been down here before? So this is Lodge Alley.
Beautiful.
This is one of the oldest streets in Charleston. So we are now inside what used to be the Charlestown Wall. There you go.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. So with that being said, you can see that it's only wide enough for horse and buggy.
Yeah.
But people used to live down here. So on your spirit box, I'm going to be listening for names.
Okay.
Because I have the full list of names of every person that ever used to live here. So the two buildings that you see
Yeah.
were obviously never here. But they have little shotgun houses here. If you picture the peninsula of Charleston, it used to be much skinnier, so the edges,
Right.
those buildings down there wouldn't have been there. So the smell of low tide would come up here constantly. So they did consider these people lower class, and they proved it with a dig in between these clay bricks, original by the way, that some of their tools and silverware, clothing, all that stuff, like that's what they found, and were able to classify these people as lower class. So the Masons also used to meet down here. I just don't know a whole lot of history about that.
Yeah.
But the inn that you see here, this is a blue-green like timeshare type place. It's called Lodge Alley Inn. Every hotel in Charleston has claims to a ghost or haunting. None of them give me free rooms to verify them, so
Right.
believe what you will. We don't get much EMF down here either. If we do, it's
Yeah.
usually by Magnolia's restaurant, but when we do get EMF, it's usually pretty exciting. We've caught green orbs down here. We usually get the names Benjamin and John on any type of spirit box. So Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801, and they were 2 out of the 4 residents. We had 50% of the people that used to live here
Yeah.
in one particular area. There were 4 different Johns that lived down here, but when Benjamin and John show up together, I have to kind of conclude that it's the same time period.
Sure.
So again, it's not a census list, it's just their name, their job, and with shotgun house number was,
Right.
like basically their address. But that's all it is. So it's an interesting lot. It is a little spooky. People love the ambiance. I like to show off the bricks.
Right. Yes.
So when we get to the edge of this, like if you want to turn up your spirit box a little bit, you can. This is the reason why I came up so far, is because this is a quiet area, and I think it still says it right there too.
Yep.
So these are hotel rooms right behind you. That's
Right.
why it's a quiet area. But we are going to be cutting through a neighborhood where
Okay.
tour guides are not allowed to go.
Okay.
So we're going to be 4 friends cutting through and just making our way back over to Cumberland Street.
Gotcha.
This is also where I had to change my tour, because you'll see the big church steeple.
Yeah.
We're actually going to go up to that steeple a little bit closer. But Philadelphia Alley has a very long history with duels. So, hey, how are you?
How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
So I used to actually take my teams over to Dueling Alley and listen
Yeah.
to the whistles from the Whistling Doctor, and it's a big long story, but this is where everything had to change. So
Sure.
I'll kind of point out Philadelphia Alley. So if you guys are going to
Yeah,
be, when are
yeah.
you guys leaving?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow afternoon?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay, if you guys
Yeah.
get a chance to walk around more,
Yeah.
definitely walk through Philadelphia Alley. It is the most beautiful spot, day or night.
Okay.
And I'll point it out to where
Yeah.
it is. It's really easy to find. So it's right up Cumberland Street. So and I like to just spend a few minutes here, like talking to you guys while that's on low, so that
Yes.
way it's at least recording for us. I can listen for the names. I'm sorry, I haven't been watching my spirit box, but it is running.
Yeah.
Now I get the word funeral.
I heard you talking about flowers.
Yeah, but I was also asking which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. But we did get the word shot. That was 2148. That was 4 minutes ago. So
Yeah.
would have been just before I started talking about Philadelphia Alley with the duels.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth. If I would normally be over there by now. And I think that's about Dominic. I don't think there was a Dominic ever down here. But I don't know. I'd have to look at it. 'Cause it's not a very long list, but I don't have it memorized either. So yeah, we're going to definitely take a walk through here.
Okay.
Questions, comments, concerns so far?
No.
No,
I'm
hopefully
good.
We're
Yeah.
capturing some
Yes.
stuff on your spirit
Yeah.
box.
Awesome.
So, and I know the camera's not the most exciting thing to watch, but at least we have video of it.
Oh,
you know.
exactly.
That's the whole So there was a false claim that these bricks here in the center were
Yeah.
laid this way because it was the exact latitude of Charleston, and that's a myth. They're laid this way for sewage.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
That's it. That's all it's there for.
That's fantastic.
And we actually have a latitude alley. Which runs longitude.
That's funny. It's so pretty out here, though.
It's this quiet.
Right? It's odd that it's this quiet.
Well, this is the neighborhood.
Oh,
So, and
good
there are
for them.
businesses, there's a lot of people that live upstairs and- Sort of this is Lodge Alley, where the courtyard goes over to.
right.
And you have to run into the door.
That is funny. I think
the only
it's
one
getting
working.
so cold. Yeah, people are just like, nope.
I have a major competitor. You know, Bulldog pretty much runs most of the tours down here. So,
Oh,
and they have dozens of tour guides.
oh,
So, I usually run into their big large groups.
wow. Yeah.
That's what we're doing. So the parking meters aren't going to be free after January 1st, after 6 o'clock. They did that to kind of bring business back
Yes.
in town after COVID. So we've been taking advantage of it without
Uh-huh.
parking expenses. But starting January 1, I had to find an ineffective garage.
Oh, no.
So that's what we're going with that.
Oh, okay. That would be nice. Now, do they have like a whole bars thing where the bars have to close early down here too now?
11 o'clock.
Curfew.
So there's a lot going on in this whole area. This
Yeah.
is a very popular tourist area. So you're gonna see, like, there's a large tour. By the
Yeah.
way, I told you guys this is set up for a group of 10. Charleston says we can go up to 20. I want to.
Yeah.
Right? But with this particular corner, there's a lot going on. They're probably going to be cutting through, but that's okay because we're going to pretty much stay right here. We're going to start with that brick building that we passed up. Called Bocce's Restaurant. Bocce's Restaurant pretty much left town because it's too hot.
Yeah.
So mirrors fell off in the bathroom, didn't break. That's happened several times that I know of. The doors once they shut are locked there. Like it's pretty much a haunted location
Right.
through and through. Now, again, with the shop, that's one of the locations I've been eyeballing. I just need a couple of million to get it from the
Exactly.
city. Not a big deal. So the reason why they all go up to the church is because there's a sign right inside the gate there that says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. There's a reason for that. So 1888, there was a young lady named Sue Howard Hardy. I'm going to make sure I get her name right because
Yeah.
she will correct me if I say it wrong. If I say Susan, Sue comes up almost every time.
Yeah.
So anyway, Sue, she died 10 days after her stillborn child in 1987, 99 years later, which I did confirm the right amount of years. Where'd you gain that? Get to work. We have a photographer local that's taking pictures around town, and
Yeah.
he took some pictures of the cemetery. He caught a full apparition of a woman wearing a shawl with a baby basket next to her. I don't show, he's probably showing the picture. I don't show it on my tours because there's a curse attached to it. Any female that holds it will not feel well. Same symptoms I told you about at Big
Right.
John's. A female that's pregnant holding the picture will not have a good pregnancy. Do I know what the repercussions of that are? I don't. I don't want to find out either.
Right.
So if you want to look it up, Sue Howard Hardy, you now have the name on your audio. So look at it on a computer screen, a TV
Yeah.
screen, just don't hold it. That's kind of the way that goes. So there's two sides of the cemetery. So I don't know if you guys knew that. There's an east and a west. So the eastern side is for native Charlestonians only. Calhoun is buried on this side because they had to figure out which side he belonged to, and they moved him 3 different times. So if you want to see Calhoun's sarcophagus, it is above ground. And since they took his monument down in Marion Square, which is still relatively close to where you guys are staying, it's only about half a mile away. I don't know where they're taking it. I have ties to watch them from Light Imagery, and they haven't told me where they're taking it. Like, it's a big secret. But on the other side of the cemetery is a house that has an anchor on the front. It's called the Pirate House. Somebody lives there. So the deal with that was that Blackbeard's men would come off the ships, and he would stay on the ship to guard them. And they'd go have a drink, meet up with a few women, and then they dug a tunnel underneath the Pirate House over to Dock Street Theater, a whole block away. We filled it in the 90s. Like, it's legit.
Right.
So rumor had it, and we all know it's not true, that Blackbeard's treasure was buried under there. We all know it's in North Carolina. So if you're any kind of treasure hunter,
Nice enthusiasm.
right? So we didn't bring anything to drink. Losing my voice. So the reason why I bring up all those different places is because they all tie together. So
Yeah.
there was at the big steeple of the church, there was a young lady that worked here. Well, let's take a step backwards. Dock Street Theater.
Yeah.
Little history there. This used to be Dock Street. We changed it to Church Street because the church was the only building that couldn't move when they widened the road. And at the time, Dock Street Theater was Planters Hotel. So it was no longer needed to be Dock Street for Dock Street Theater's sake, even though it's named Dock Street Theater now. So originally Dock Street, Planters Hotel, then Dock Street that we know now. Okay, so Nettie Dickerson worked here at the church. She was past the marrying age of 17. Nobody wanted her. She was 23.
Sad.
So she's seen all the prostitution that was going on down at Planters Hotel and put on her best red dress, went down there and got a job. She's the best loved girl in the place, but she's still not happy. She used to go up to the second story balcony and wonder about coming back to the church. The priest sees this one night, and he goes down there to talk to her, convince her to come back. Storm rolls in, lightning strikes the wrought iron banister she's leaning on and kills her dead. Now, I know there's no other way to kill somebody besides dead, but they say you can see Nettie from the knees up only, because when we turned her from Planters back to Dock Street Theater, we raised that first floor ceiling. So she's walking on the floor that she knows. So I don't get much activity when I'm in there with the EMF, but I believe that there's wood in there from another mansion, because Charleston recycles everything.
Yeah.
There was a big fire in Radcliffe Borough, which is pretty close to where we started, but there's wood in there from that fire. The other ghost that you can find at Dock Street Theater, and you can walk through the daytime, so again, when you're in this area tomorrow, Junius Booth. So Junius Booth was father of John Wilkes Booth, who shot Lincoln in a theater. So with that being said, we can get tour guide police down here. So Junius is he can be seen in period dress, and that's also the same time period that Edgar Allan Poe's mother was a child actress passing through town as well. So if you don't know anything about Edgar Allan Poe in Charleston, he used to be stationed at Sullivan's Island in the Navy, and Annabelle Lee is allegedly buried in Unitarian Church about a half a mile this way. So she's in an unmarked grave because her father did it that way on purpose, so Edgar could not find her. So I have one tour guide friend that claims that many times people will pass out right in front of his gates when he passes by and tells that story. So very interesting that actually happens. Last but not least, we're going to take a look at this powder magazine. So the building you see across the parking lot here, we're now at the very corner of the Charlestown walls. So the powder magazine, where they kept all the gunpowder, is as far away from the water as possible.
Right.
It's got 32-inch thick walls. 8 pillars are on the edge, and they all meet in the center. It's called a groin vaulted ceiling. The roof that you see is original, and it is filled with sand from 1712. The building was finished in 1713.
Wow.
It is our oldest government building in South Carolina. So, with that being said, it is served in 7 different wars, not from start to finish, but the reason why it's got its construction the way that it is, because if it was ever attacked from the water, again, it would have been about a whole block closer, the blast would have been contained, and it wouldn't affect anything else around it. So that's why all that sand is still there. So it is a museum now. It's actually pretty cheap to go walk through if you're into wars. You can see all the different uniforms of the
Sure.
wars that it served. But there's a pirate attached to this, and I will be honest, I don't have a story that attaches the pirate to this building. However, I didn't even believe the story until I had to change my route and start. And I'm like, all right, guys, let's go test this out. We started getting information. Anne Bonny, female pirate. She married a man named James for her father's request. Then she had an affair with Calico Jack. He had a ship. She wanted to be part of it. So she dressed up like a man and became part of the pirate crew. While she was part of that crew, she found another female doing the exact same thing that she was. Her name was Mary Read. So they were both females dressed as males to be part of the ship. So the ship gets taken over. Everybody's tried and hung for piracy. But Mary and Anne both claimed that they were pregnant. So their hanging was delayed. So their trial was on November 28, 1720. So almost 300 years to the day. About a month ago.
Wow.
Would have been 300 years. So we've been getting, well, here's the rest of the story, is Anne, actually her father was an Irish prominent name, so he was able to bail her out. And
Yeah.
she lived to be 84. She got married, she had kids, the whole nine. She lived a long, healthy life. Mary, on the other hand, stayed in jail for a whole year and then died. So we've been getting weird things. We've been getting Anne's name, we've been getting pregnant, saved my child, like all kinds. Save my child came out of the other day, by the way, which was super cool. So yeah, looks like they're gonna probably see if they're gonna cut through here. But we are gonna like kind of check out this building along here on the side. We're gonna listen to our spirit box. You're gonna be filming, of course.
Right.
And then once like these tour groups go by, if you're not hearing anything still, because I'm gonna test mine too. We're gonna go around to the front of the building just so you guys can get a gist of what it looks like over there. We're gonna still listen to our spirit box to see what comes up. But again, this is our last stop, just so you guys know.
Okay.
And then your hotel literally is right down the street,
Oh,
like
nice.
3 blocks.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're gonna run right into it. But we're gonna check out this place. You guys can
Okay.
ask me a million
Okay.
questions if you want to.
Yeah.
But we want to. I haven't had relative questions like I did with Eliza.
Okay.
So maybe if you come up with something clever, let me know what it is. And because I've just been pretty much just listening. Give me
Right.
something. Tell me that you're here.
Yeah.
Now again,
Yeah,
they say
yeah.
they used to do just investigations here, like my kind of tour, just here.
Right,
And
right.
fine, I don't know what came out of it, but obviously they're not in business anymore. But this is one of those things where I'm still learning it. So hopefully
Yeah.
we get some more clues, and I definitely been paying attention to the spirit box at the last like 10, 12 minutes to really stay focused to see what all the messages say and try to
Gotcha.
put clues together. That's where I
Okay.
got Save My Child from.
Okay.
It's kind of like, all right, let's see what came out of this.
Yeah.
Oh, Save My Child. That makes complete sense. So the EMF, we'll see what happens when we get
Yes.
close to the building.
Okay.
We haven't had much out of the EMF, but they say Anne Bonny's spirit is so strong you can catch her all over Charleston, but mostly here. And I don't have a story why. And that was why I hated bringing people up here. Because I was like, I don't have an attachment. I don't believe it.
And there's a lot that I guess, you really can't, I don't know.
Yeah, you
No.
can't tie it. If I can't tie it, like it's sketchy to me until I get more and more evidence. Now the Eliza Pinckney's like year and a half, night after night after night. I mean, just answers. I get them all the time. With this, I have to build it up. So, sorry, but you guys are still part of my experiment. So, go ahead and turn your spirit box up.
Okay.
We can wander all back and forth through here, asking questions, and then we're going to actually check out the front, and then we'll call it a night. But let's spend a
That's
good
awesome.
5 to 8 minutes here.
Okay.
And you guys want to take pictures? I'm sorry. You guys could have taken pictures all night.
Oh, we're good. We got that. I mean, the
Yeah,
camera
this
going
is
and
rolling.
his camera going.
I meant regular pictures.
Oh,
for your
no.
tour.
It's
for
we're
your
nerds.
vacation.
We don't do that.
Well, for the blog and podcast, the wife is in photography and design. She
Right.
designs everything for me. So the logo, she designed from scratch.
Nice.
Anything that if somebody has a digital camera or something's on there, I say, okay, tell me what happened with this. And again, cell phone manager, and she's a photographer.
Yeah.
She knows every cell phone camera
That's
out there.
awesome.
So if somebody sends me a picture that
Yeah.
they took that has a weird blur or whatever,
Yeah, you can.
tell me what kind of phone it is. I'll send it off to the wife.
That's awesome.
So
Gotcha.
again, it's a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, explore, get me
Okay.
some answers, and hopefully we can get something out of this location.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All
Where
right,
are
let's
you
do
going?
this. Let's go start up that way then.
Yeah.
Hold on, what's happening? Where's the button?
Use a little volume switch.
Where'd it go? Am I upside down? No. Oh. There he is. Okay.
Alright. This is the powder building.
The pirates.
Are you a pirate?
Oops.
Oh, geez.
Eliza. Eliza. It's that same.
Is there... Who's here with us? Is there anybody around?
Where's the baby? That was a mouse.
Do you like the
Chicago.
city now? Ah.
She was.
She was.
How old were you when you died?
I was caused by burns and no.
Burns and something. I got loud. Don't go too high with the volume, baby. Just turn it on low. You don't have to keep clicking the button.
Yeah, you have to keep rolling it back and forth.
No, you just gotta get it to a volume where you can hear it. And click to itself. There you go.
Oh, that's the volume. I thought I was flipping
No, you're not flipping
the whole
nothing.
time. I am so not eating that again.
Oh. Let's go over by this tree. What year did you die?
Better.
Tell me your name.
Sometimes. Partner knows how to do this.
Something.
Were you a pirate? Did you claim lots of booty?
Someone about to drive around. Go.
I feel like I was good.
Huh?
Never mind.
What's the numbers?
Oh. It's a neat little building now.
Why do you stay here? Museum. Pirate.
We really need those pirates.
Tell us something.
What do you want us to know? That was
weird.
It's weird. Laughing.
Not really. You got a bunch of numbers.
Oh, yeah.
And there was some weird static.
What were the numbers?
I don't remember. There was like 10 numbers in a row. Just spit out a bunch of numbers.
We did ask what month their trial was in. So I
Ah.
was waiting for November to come up, but if you heard 28 or 17 or 20.
I mean, it was like, there was a bunch of numbers at one time. So I don't know.
I got the word demographic, so I took that as a clue, like what part of the demographic made you different.
Right.
So that would have been like female, girl, woman. anything related to
Yeah.
that. I think that was pretty much, we had representative, but it doesn't really mean anything. Nothing weird on the camera.
I haven't seen anything.
Alright, I definitely want to get some camera view on the front of the building. London's EMF didn't give me anything.
Okay.
So again, I haven't had much with that here.
Yeah.
I have had little blips, but nothing that's exciting like what we saw at Pinckney.
Right.
So again, when I do get a blip in some dead areas like this, it's kind of like, all right, let's start asking questions. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get some video of the front,
Okay.
and then you guys can ask me a million questions while you want to.
Awesome.
You walk back to your hotel unless you're going to go somewhere.
Oh.
You guys planning on going to?
Well, I think there was this pizza place that we had gone to, like when we first started dating, that we went. So I think we're gonna try to head back over there, which is
in the market?
literally right near our hotel too.
Oh, okay.
I can't even. It's on the side of the market.
Yeah, because there's a little pizza place by the Slice in the market, but I think they're
Yeah.
probably closed by now. They might.
I don't even know the name of it. Angela's or something like that.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
We don't eat out very often.
Okay. Okay.
I drive Uber Eats inland.
Yeah.
Like, again, when there's no flower deliveries. So, this is the front of the building, and you can see sign of 1713. So,
Oh,
like, all
wow.
these gallows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's all for show. But the cannons and stuff, like, that stuff would have been legit.
Sure.
I just don't know where these ones would have been stationed at. But,
So,
beautiful picture, she says. Again, anybody need a teenager?
Right.
They have an amazing library. I actually have a season pass because they have books that nobody else carries.
Wow.
So again, local author and historian kind of stuff. So just that part of my library is getting pretty big, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Sure.
It's not just all horror books. And there's a lot of. Well, they actually decorated the tree up there. They put some few bulbs on there. It's pretty
Aw.
cool. Might for like one more word to come up, and then we'll call this a wrap. Because it looks like it's trying to do something like when you guys, if you're gonna try this later, the green bars are kind of like it's a stronger signal, so you'll hear it start to chirp. So the chirping you'll hear that little chirping sound. That's coming from the blue one. So if I were to actually close this one and just go to, that's how that one's gonna sound. So it's you're gonna get static and the chirping, but if you run this if you're using a Ouija board or something like that, absolutely is what I heard. So rewind by 5 seconds on that one. But again, that's the way I found the easiest way, so that we can have more spirit boxes. Right. So again, I like to throw everything at it. All right. Did you get us some decent footage? You think?
yeah, I've been trying to kind of pan in there.
Yeah. The only thing on that is you can't get a zoom.
Yeah,
That's Same
that's
on
the
your
same
phone.
with mine. It won't zoom.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to do the record. Like I said, I can take pictures, and I know it can record because you're supposed to be able to use it for like engine diagnostics. So you
Yep.
need to be running your car
Yep.
and then filming where the fluid's going through
Right.
or whatever. So I've been
I've
trying
had
to figure.
mechanics look at video that I've caught.
Yeah, and plumbing and stuff like that. Because I do remodels and stuff like that. on the
Firemen use it
carpentry.
too.
Yeah, to see where the
flames coming in after the
coming
next
out.
wall.
Yep.
Yep. So a lot of cool stuff.
Yes.
Let me see.
All right, let's take that spirit box from you.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. I'm glad you guys had fun. I mean, you
Yes,
guys were definitely like
honestly.
in tune. You guys didn't ask a whole lot like during the tour, but you guys were focused.
I was gonna say we're both super shy too, so
but I also talk a lot, so it's one of those,